fear of man, and what does the fear of man have to do with how you dress every day? My name is LindaPaige, and I'm the founder and managing director of LindaPaige, and I have been asked this question a few times lately because I am someone who used to be bound and enslaved to the fear of man. And the fear of man, very simply, is worrying about what other people think about you, wanting and needing acceptance and approval from others. And friend, if that's where you are, then I want to tell you two things. Number one, the fear of man is a snare, it's a trap, it's in the Bible. Here at LindaPaige, we speak very freely about our love for God, the only living God. We have many people in our community who believe in different things, and that's absolutely amazing. We love the fact that it takes all kinds, all shapes, all sizes to actually create something beautiful, because beauty is an inside job. But when it comes to the fear of man, we believe very strongly, I believe very strongly through personal experience, that it's a total waste of time. I am working with some incredible women right now who are struggling through that, wanting to dress up, and when they do, they get criticisms. I've got people in my family who've been through the same thing. I've been through the same thing. I haven't been criticized for how poorly I've dressed. I've actually in the past, for many years, been criticized for dressing too well at church, or too well at the office, or too well, because I have been blessed by my father to have a passion for fashion and a real love for personal style. And I really went through in different areas of my life, just was totally bound and chained by the fear of man. And so someone asked me recently, how did you break out? Well, it's not a simple overnight procedure, as I'm sure you understand, but I was so sick and tired, so done, so over, worrying about what people think about me, wanting their approval, then getting their approval, and then the very next week doing something wrong, and then those same people being so fickle and then disapproving and dismissing and rejecting. And folks, we can all be like that. We are sometimes a fickle people. We're just human, and it's by the grace of God that we go into a new day with fresh mercies every day. But I actually got to a point some years ago, and I got onto my knees and I said to God, I'm so done with this. I want you to break me out of this prison of the fear of man so powerfully, so fast, so intensely, that I never, ever, ever find myself in this prison. I will do whatever you tell me to do. Well, that's kind of how I learned. So I found myself doing things that, oh gosh, for me at the time were cringeworthy, absolutely cringeworthy. This is not to criticize the thing that I was doing. This was just for me at that time, because I was so bound by the fear of man. I didn't want to do things that I thought looked embarrassing or were like beneath me, or just ridiculous things. So what were they? Well, one time I used to go to a beautiful church called Kingsgate in London, and then God made it very clear that He wanted me to go out to Africa on this mission trip. Now, I've got a massive heart for the poor. I fight human trafficking in different ways. I'm very dedicated to those causes. But Africa, I'm from South Africa, but I don't have a heart to go out to Africa anyway. So I kind of said to God, I don't really have a heart for Africa, and He said, it's not about you. So I found myself on this amazing mission trip for 12 days with Kingsgate, my church, and Iris Ministries, which is in the far north of Mozambique in Africa, in a place called Pemba. It's called the Bush. And I had the most incredible 12-day experience. I think people sometimes think they're going to go out on mission trips and they're going to save people and change the world. And actually what happens is you get down and you meet children who've got nothing, who've got more joy than you'll ever experience in your life, who've got more gratitude than we have ever understood in our 20, 30, 40, 50 years. So I went on a learning trip, and I was loved on, and I just loved back, and that was amazing. One of the other things I did was I found myself acting in a church Christian drama. Now, this is just not something that I would ever do, ever. I didn't want to do it. I didn't have a need to do it. In fact, at the time, I was really struggling to have a baby. I was feeling kind of cut up about it. And I ended up playing 87-year-old Sarah who couldn't have a baby, and I was on my knees. My opening lines were real tears because I couldn't have a baby. So I can't even tell you what that, and we didn't just do one play, there were like several, over and over and over, and I had to play different roles in that church drama, and it was a beautifully produced event, and it was amazing. But for me at the time, I just was not in a place where I had any freedom with it, but I went and I did it. And there were so many things like this in my life that I did, that I said to God, if you tell me what to do, I will go and do it. And if it makes me extremely uncomfortable, I know it's right. I used to be a complete control freak. I am still under construction in terms of aiming for perfection sometimes. I'm so grateful for my coach, Danny Johnson, who has taught me that we are to aim for results and not for perfection, because I was just raised a certain way. We all have a story. But I started doing the very thing that I thought gave me security and comfort. I started doing the opposite. I used to, for example, only do things, you're going to think I'm nuts, in even numbers. I used to sit in the fourth row, in the fourth seat when I went to cinema. Otherwise, I wouldn't watch. I could not sit in the third row. I would not sit in seat number 11. For me, equality and fairness and justice was played out in numbers. And I was so over injustice and unfairness and abuse and everything else that it had to be even numbers. If I chewed over here, I had to chew there. If I walked there, you can imagine the stress that it actually created in my life. And I thought this was control. It actually wasn't. So I started doing the opposite. I went and sat in row 7, number 5. And the whole time I sat there, like, not really even watching the movie. But I started doing that in all areas of my life. Still today, at the age of 44, almost 45, I chew 3 times here, and I just go like, I'm not chewing there. I'm just not going to do it. I'm just going to keep it here. Like, it's a daily choice. Like, every day is Tuesday, right? And it's like years and years of training that I gave myself that I still have to undo. But I want to tell you that I broke free of the fear of man to such an extent that there is no freedom that I've encountered before that feels better. That you cannot fear God and fear man at the same time. It is impossible. You bow down to one or the other. You cannot serve both. Because so often, man's opinion is not aligned with God's opinion. In fact, I don't think we have a clue of God's view, of his perspective of us, of his dreams and his plans. And no eyes have seen, no ears have heard his plans for us and his vision and his secrets and mysteries that he actually has for us. So this has a lot to do with wardrobe, friend. I want to encourage you that if you need me to come alongside you, if you need to have a chat about this, if you need to be encouraged, then just find the things in your life that you don't want to do because of the fear of man, and go and do those things. That's the best advice I can give you, is go and do the very thing that you don't want to do because of what somebody might think. That will become a habit if you commit to it, and God will give you courage, and you ask him every day for courage, and he will give you a boldness, and you go and put yourself out there. And let me tell you something, that is like taking a key at a time and unlocking this door, and the next day you unlock that prison door, the next day you unlock. Soon you open the last door, and then you're out, and then you find yourself free, and it's the best place that you'll ever be. You'll find that your whole life will change. You start doing different things. You start hanging out with different people. You will start dressing differently, because I find, especially with women, that some do not want to dress up because they don't want to draw attention to themselves. But that itself is a form of pride, because shyness is pride. I learned this too from my coach, that we are not placed on this earth to hide away and to, well, I'm not me and I'm shy, and that's pride, because there are people who need you. If you're one of those shy people, you have a loving, beautiful, graceful way about you, and there's somebody out there, many people out there, who need your kindness, who need your gentleness. And if you're one of those women who uses wardrobe to bring power into a room and to intimidate others and to really dominate conversations, then you might achieve that. But are you connecting with those people? Are you building relationships? Because life is all about relationships. So I believe that the gift of wardrobe really is a gift from our Father that can help us to get up and dress up and position us to connect with others. It's such a powerful relationship builder. So when it comes to the fear of man, friend, I can only tell you one thing. Open that Bible and don't be hard on yourself. I have just reached Judges. It is January 2017, and I've been reading my Bible for 20-something years, and I'm in Judges. So don't judge yourself too harshly if you haven't read your Bible cover to cover yet. There are so many friends I have that have read it cover to cover many times. I'm just not there. I'm just learning to read. I'm just learning to enjoying it. I'm speaking life over it. Sometimes I read one line. The other day I read 7 pages. It's like amazing. Read your word. Ask God for courage, and go and do the very thing that makes you feel embarrassed or awkward or what are people going to think. That's how you break free. That is going to bring freedom to how you dress. I hope that helps you.